show. Yakida, let the rhythm away. Let's celebrate today. Yakima, let's come together in Aqua Ibom. Unity will last forever. Nneme Mbubreyo, the rhythm takes control. Aqua Ibom, let's celebrate as a whole. Let's come together in Aqua Ibom. Unity will last forever. Oh, Nneme Mbubreyo, the beat drops in the air. Dance and rejoice, let happiness be there. Nneme Mbubreyo, the rhythm takes control. Aqua Ibom, let's celebrate as a whole.
All right. Mukangin, isang ide mo. Gani ka keruwe mi yu kente mintirum. Menem garung gani ka usoket Mbubreyo. Isang ukangin mintirum. Gani ka usoket Mbubreyo. May nambong iba isosong. Mamani kombu fumfun. Sakari ka nyamfun yai kuwanga sigi tongom bong. Naturo isranyo unem fien. Ayong Nneme. So, ang boga bari mfano. My name eri wang Nneme mbong ajiti. Nneme ma wak mbong. Ben funny yai idagi sun Nneme ke. Me kom macha fana nditoy kami. Senior bed there. Usen funem 80. But so I don't know the young again. Mebo, happy birthday to you. Van senior birthday. Bananam di no, bananam di dar. Okay. Ya inam to me say.
Happy birthday to you.
All right, so happy birthday to you. Yabasia no fian fatse for being a yao yokofian. Fia we might like a topics design the ready. Eddie you. Am I dear Mintang as a moi coop? I'm more very young. Oh, make it on me. Make it on me. Our program I am. Hey, the design the program I am. No, via wo. Get design program I am non the to Okangin. And bomb in Namam Nneme. Okang Nneme kete ufonse minama mimfunem. Mbonga ya kat sia aba wori mani diki yem video. Manabre akop sengetang. So the purpose of Nneme this program. Irikom pomfen ke Nneme miyo. Ngbo seni so ke min Nneme mi. Mana turo akewo. Adi bo oyen. Atang iko itebo oyen. Kenyan timo iko mbodo. Aya fegerok patient. Adi mana benebre. Sora nyekop se mingatang. Na mfre miero akpa afion sen. Kafion socket. This was 2024. So mebo fre fende to kangen. Mbo happy new month. Now agbedo isong them. So program me I get to okay ntaka my tribe surfing ekori bibliotari wanyang. So many na map esini biblionte aro a part of them. Take a branch of their own. I remember that I did get a ribbon of me that you make some song ago. I about a tell we by go kang in about yes and more. Hey, yeah, medical nice in again. Get this era. So you guys in a minda kanda. Boy, young nam program me. Usen kere kangin ayarat program ami akbem bono ide me mo yon te yunte mo ki itu iba worong ngorimbo nsinsi aro ko nsen nyini nam aro dat ken nyini mi keminam po editi. So imai tanga mbong ibanga nga ke na mai ko no mewo esion wi kan o kangen tembo ke bo slave trade. And so just slave trade mi yakanam slave trade mi ma bion uforonyen adgo nkai sonye ro apiara bion mgbebo kekero mfoni sonye abion emananyen irianyanyen yemedo yiman yinefe. So ntagaro kesen ya programam atongo. So mfana me yai tangi ko itoki banga ya ineki ka na slave trade me yake tongi se slavery. Mboy from ogada kadiye. Akbo soro mboy from me yama baba. Keyo Ptolemies. Yo 358 BC Egypt. So I go to Africa because Kini discover agriculture. Ptolemies go for Ptolemies one of the voice one come akeba keyo Alexander the Great get to tell for so can tell I discover agriculture. Then Ptolemy, my uncle mewo ndifon. I'm more seeing agriculture. So young friend in tang me ebitang kabanga ukang Afrika na kenene keto atong ke Afrika agara rakadie nori womi ngwere atang iko banga history abo transatlantic slave trading of Africans began in 1441 with two Portuguese explorers, Nuno Tristo and Antonio Congleves. Tristo and Congleves sailed to Mauritania in West Africa and kidnapped 12 Africans and returned to Portugal and presented the captive Africans as gift to Prince Henry the Navigator. Na agatong so is that all? No. So I make it now means your paper. But how Pope Nicholas V used the church for Abasi to start the disgraceful slave trade. I want I say one. I could me one young isen. So ayakare young very bam. The blueprint of conquest. Pope Nicholas V issue the papal bulls of discovery. Mbone Dr. Roman Catholic. The only good papal pool. So it go send bo. It go send bo in on Catholic. In frame him he passed a degree. So in 1455, it take them me manage Christian. Maybe it take me. I don't think so. They take them me manage 1455. And young is white. In the papal bull, in 1455, Pope Nicholas V issued the papal bull Romanus Pontifex, authorizing the Portuguese king to capture, punish, and subdue enemies of Christ, and to reduce their persons to perpetual slavery. This was the first of the papal bulls of discovery, orders by the invaluable Pope to enslave, spoliate, and subjugate, because non-Christians were heathens. And then, after that, Amani were you. So yaitem yaina matari kon were titika. The transatlantic slave trade began when European powers established trading relationships with African leaders and exchanged goods for enslaved people. Demand for labor. The discovery of the Americas and the need for cheap labor to work on plantations led to a growing demand for slaves. Trade resources. Europeans were drawn to West Africa for its gold, ivory, and other trade resources. African leaders exchanged enslaved people for goods like alcohol, beads, and clothes. Okay. Iya ito ang bang yan. Tungo. Akbar mo bago forum. Syrian no. Pero marok Syrian no. Hindi ako na ibi Nneme. Ba wiba. Am baka miya mana ka siyak. Ya ise suba ko timo wiba makedo ise. Ya imani ise. Oh my God, 18 of June, 1452. I do send a Pope Nicholas the feet. I guess you will walk on me, you know. And then I go in Amso. Okay, walk on mom. I walk on mom, ma. Ano. I walk a kereke. Alfonso the feet. Get away in Portugal. So reduce. I get more Saracens, Muslims, pagans, and many unbelievers to perpetual slavery. This facilitated the Portuguese slave trade from West Africa. The same Pope wrote I go America for.
Yes, my doctor.
See you know you don't get gang.
Isong Rukana.
Rukari song.
Oje Pakumaro.
Where?
Anang Bamado.
Mama. Boga bari gang fu. Ndebong.
Na pabi ora o kare ke boke kwa ibo mo de okay. Ku kan bu ya mba me bu ya re okay.
Okay.
Had a very good weekend for all of us in Abuja.
I mean, mess okay, man.
There's so much tea.
I want it for more good young man and no recap. I want Kimani, you may say, Nang and Yinigisa, do you fun. I want better making where the Anakedo. I will keep Pope Nicholas defeat Ekbetang Pope, Ekbebo Pope, Yar, many younger Catholic Church, Ketang Ebangar. Evocaguiba. Abong Portugal, Agagerege, Alfonso the Fifth, Yorition. Alfonso Amadi Africa. Mbomaget Pega 1400. Ariemum Barawa, Dueba. Akesana Yagano, Ogusemi, how Pope Nicholas the Fifth used the church to start this great slave trade. American Dero. Religious dogma created the dehumanization of African indigenous people. So, Mpremi Akbebari wogi de medidi on boke slave trade. Ufa waba seketango. Even defu ko podo bari yagutong. Au nempi na diko. Oh yes. Yo, in mega waba song bucket. So, yes. Nneme, I make it 1455. And yes, young boy get koro papal bull authorizing the Portuguese king capture, vanquish, subdue enemies of Christ, and to reduce their patience to perpetual slavery. This was the first of the papal bulls of discovery, orders by the infallible Pope to enslave, spoliate, subjugate, because non-Christians were heathens. Okay. Nagi nam nyenero. Entaro nyenero. So you get boy wood nyen. You go wood nyen a phrase you. And I'm nyenido ifon. Sinsi. Kawo young nyen iboko. And then now I get where it me. About Pope Nicholas V issued the papal bull Dom de Fesas on 18 June 1452. It authorized Alfonso V of Portugal to reduce any surrogates, Muslims and pagans, and any other unbelievers to perpetual slavery. This facilitated the Portuguese slave trade from West Africa. Now, Mbubreyo that akanam diedo West Africa. Akanam diedi tonchoro. So I am for the answer you what fiendo. Ado the decree nyeke paske. Abo ya fre wish negi fonoru. Nyeke do the papal bull. Odo mekom na ikoro infallible. Keke boke modo. I'm more get to Basi of those days. Yes. So, I am Rubiak Fianadum. May I be Nagam Biakmin? Adi Africa. Young Siorado Kangam Fib. Nadi Namadi Africa, Adidum. Yang ya go to Damise. I go to Damise. No young name Fianna di Coop. Amera Gatsibagudo. Okay. About the network Africa side. So I repeat this, that the transatlantic slave trade began when European powers established trading relationships with African leaders in exchange for goods. So, mzuto goods kemo ikebo. The Atlantic, early beginning of slavery. The Atlantic slave trading of Africans began in 1441 with two Portuguese explorers, Nuno Tristão and Antonio Gonçalves. Tristão and Gonçalves sailed to Mauritania in West Africa and kidnapped 12 Africans and returned to Portugal and presented the captives to Prince Henry the Navigator. So Keno, Prince Henry the Navigator, even Duebam. I will tell a market of Pobutong, Poborodion, West Africa. It was West Africa, I keep going Christ. As a then, the absence of the Roman Church, Africa. Okay, don't go. After Bonogo, Sigiba, Africa. It became more Gideon, Christ. So am I, boy. I don't give you good. Maybe more Tiffin. And the rations might be refund. Perpetually in Helsinki, there should be no end. All right. Proceed. And then, came about that Papa Boo. I want to talk about what our kings and leaders of that time, Akebo, in exchange for goods and services. Okay, answer them briefly. No? Our leaders, Ekinama fund that time. A time Pondogo that Kendi when wherever okay. Our leaders, Ekinyambunomo. Anna Nambom Rikut. Nagan Nambom. Look at this song when African leaders exchange enslaved people for goods like alcohol. Is alcohol worth enough? A word in Yamagum. Is it worth it? Boya, what about Mbubreyo? But many say be tongue that so come borrow the name. Okay, so Kaiso. So Ngabo. Me would even a woman yam mbokot nwang. Add enough. I would even a come on making yam. Bukana frozen no euro. Korogin Katanam bomb yaba. Akarum bomb no mean a tie titi. Tam bomb kedo. That kewo. I gave me any more woman fenayam. Manatu robo coron. Some Mirun Suto you would. African leaders seeking such that slavery near any objective or any goal. Can that care Enyamagu so the boy you calling one. Now I am wondering Messi so is Kaiso a room for them. I'm just wondering. Because a team bo bugo African leader Abanam Kemarokara Ibara Nketeba. So if you consider from 1455, I would have Ariadi Debe wo a gonna wait a bit on Kansongikan. That Mbonsigi Debe Wodu. It came out even goal. Young good. Trade resources. Europeans were drawn to West Africa for its gold. 1. Ivory. 2. And other trade resources. But African leaders, I repeat again, African leaders exchanged enslaved people for goods like alcohol, beads, and clothes. Okuku, welcome back. Medud, a woody exchange, Mama Wanyam, Manawang got, Kentahu got. It's very sad. It's very, very sad. Alcohol. Because of alcohol. So alcohol. About beats. So rakong man above. Uroko kauna mafin. And as it is, Papa just saw the same reason. The African leaders, they saw their lands of them in Umbunofen. Okay. Come Mbubreyo patience to them. Okay, Yidarufa. Yo, Yidarufa is 5 young. Mbubreyo, ya correct. Yidarufa 5 young. Me, Nneme mouse on din. Frere wo ye fien, frere wo si ba go fuck. E so ko be boy come fu. But Nneme mouse on nam no idion. Okay. So the main reason our leaders ka Africa ke nyamawo agero so that ngwan ukot. It come pondok or medico because Mbokere came I venison again with especially at Umbun seeking young edico and you reason we will change about when the African leaders in him the asset Kiniam Moidem Meke leaders of this present generation. Mesre mo abi nem di mo di dem men di koruto history cup that African leaders of the past eke nyamagine ka njifon banebo alcohol ebo ukorengwa ebo beats eko ngi jam mana torebo fongisne. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? For your entire community. Ntifon. Just because you want to what? And of course, make it ready when I saw a good woman. It take it on a gate or we know God. Simply because we in our family. And of course, simply because I would have over our family. But of course, make up. Now I would have simply because I'm making YouTube. You know, fucking boy, dear. Carry Tom Tiem Bammy, the union. Mbok. African leaders. Don't do fake one ukoromi. Zufon kukoromana mean on the foot. Udiam bondo fesiere would a woman fen me, yama woman fen me, a bondi the idea. Zufon can bomb and I mean on the foot at the end of it. Ubo your fong in sine at the detriment of another person's pains. And a kinem the end of that can tell you what the history me. Anyway, listen. Ebo kan do feke bo ogwo. Ke nyaman yenu ka. Ne nyaman yenu so. Ken tagari bo ukot won. Mary Charles Bassi. Welcome, happy new month to you as well. So, I dear history. I would cope that the only reason me weke kono ke wo mo yam in those days agaro ribo kon won and it were in them. Some bakare were fun bosina. Kinim bono do igeri benenyen kentak ivory, gold. The other resources in Guinea and Jordan. Aranisong, Aranayu. Egonisap in young. So it is said of us that our leaders of that time Ekenyambun Sekenyamaru Anaturebo Ukorengwang. Toy common name dear. Manaturebo Ukorengwang. Zuto got careful one are enough. He would you know car from ammonia. Zuton di ake fodia, Zuton kwake kongo. No for mama yinoka, anyam. I'm still wondering, but about when you give orum no. Because don't minka get the reason. Our leaders ke Africa. Eke Monday Tom Moyam. Different. Nkanan sue you, but rather Adam Bobu. You don't go to sick with time what ya woke up. That cake me token taru cot. A woody won't cot. I'm a woman fenayam. That cake me token tap. A woody kong quite young beats. I'm a woman fen ayam. About beats. A kong of it. Then can tara phone. I'm a woman fenayam. About phone. And for me, the young military soon do. The young military soon you do. Patients, even till now, they are still killing a fellow human being unnecessary just to drink alcohol. Now, I don't wonder. Because I mean, make come now, I go. And before you know it, it will. Man and repeat, can make up so many regions and areas. It would take one agasaga meet up a man. It would want to simply because we get in a one, calling one. It's a time as if who caught. I don't born a gegedo tap and bon sinsi, Kerimbut, who come on who caught the woman who would simply because I'm not calling one. What type of that's secondary tongue you come no Wumbang Africa? If a bang fruit on Bonyem. My dear brother, good evening, welcome, and happy new month. Queen, welcome, happy new month. We appreciate every one of you. So now, when the slave masters came in from Europe, the Europeans. The story is very terrible. Let me read it again. The transatlantic slave trade began when European powers established trading relationships with African leaders and exchanged goods for enslaved people. Demand for labor. So the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus and the need for cheap labor to work on plantations led to a growing demand for slaves, trade resources. Europeans were drawn to West Africa. West Africa, note it, write it down. They were drawn to West Africa for its gold, ivory, and other trade resources. Now, African leaders, most interesting African leaders. African leaders exchanged slaves for goods like alcohol, 1, beads, 2, and clothes, 3. How can we talk about this shameful act that our ancestors, who were our guardians, how should we even mention it? That those who supposed to protect us stole us just for alcohol. They stole us just to wear beads. They sold us just to wear clothes. How? In this generation, how can you explain this? That they were so greedy, they lack focus, they lack vision, and they lack conscience. They lack conscience to sell their brothers, their sisters, to become slaves in a foreign land. And some of them died terribly. Some of them were tortured to death. Some of them were hacked to death. Some of them were men to death. Now, how can we talk about this, that it happens in Africa, that our leaders sold our people? And no wonder that when you go, if a young man wants to marry, you hear somebody saying, you did not give us drink, oh. You marry our daughter. And in most cases, those women died just because the young man was unable to keep the family drink. They kill her just for drinking. What type of thing are we drinking? What are we drinking for? It's painful. It's annoying. How can somebody lack conscience just to kill another person to drink? Just to drink. The only vision is to drink. Hey. And because these things are written down, what happens today? Our leaders of today are still killing us to drink, to smoke, to snuff. They are still killing us for meat. They are still killing us just to wear clothes. They did not even exchange slaves for technology. They did not even exchange slaves for education. They did not exchange their slaves for a tangible reason. No, Nneme, my brother, if you say that it was a kind work of blindfold from the white man, no, that is a blindfold. Ye would to Quenampo say for Kemi the young Mboma when Yamado Ribo alcohol who couldn't wrong. Ndopamiri say, who called me? It's all one who couldn't finish wood. Riwariba need say we get in our family who cut. That is why and I would say I go wiki what he don't boy, don't bondo more, and I would. Is it not to collect this drink and drink? Hey boy, burita, am I telling my young for get you when? Man, continue it you when there was no foresight, there was no focus, they did not have conscience. Politicians, already some of them in Fulani. The same spirit of leadership as at 1400, the leaders of that era, they sold us. They sold us without conscience. Questions, because some couples went to the village to visit their parents. One of the elders from the wife's side told his in-law that it's been quite a long time. He doesn't buy drinks for him. Exactly what I'm saying. Unfortunately, when the couples returned back home, it wasn't up to a week. The husband died. According to them, after lots of research, they found out that the wife's uncle that killed the young man just because he did not buy drink for him to drink in the village. Now, this is a serious issue. This is a serious problem. It therefore means that he don't know the white. It's not the white. We have our problem and we can't sort it out. Just because we just because we gonna on the area. Just because you no focus. If you would don't leaders Africa he would. While the white take it, they exchange human beings. They collected our gold. They collected our ivory. They collected our oil. They established industries and make money and they go away and they became rich. Our people like this Christmas coming, this is Ember month. So in a now what is as I get making young of an accident just because he just because he can go. What type of heartless people do our leaders? Nzuto is song is ready to go. I don't even believe that a leader simply because thank you for your comments. I appreciate those comments. Very bamdo from Bambo. Anne kenem dear woody would a woman can tau. Anem dear woody would simply because of worry who corong. Anem dear yin. And it's on need yours. Every temple simply because of who got. Nzuto return, Nzuto demonic. Nzuto, that is demonus who corado, okay? Okay, consider future one got. Don't I get one corome who can't get one corome, so go corring onion. Okay, at least if Mfia woman get the Yemudebi for them, you can make an exchange with technology. Because now I'm in come me my yama go out of idiots. I walk in a car, Nangaya, I am a refer, I'm a manyam. Just so the yours is already your woman for me. And how can we still continue to live in a society like this? How can we still continue with this type of mentality? Africa. And them the word so on that note, John Hawkins. I'm overseas by Calaba. We make up boy by John Hawkins. Say Hawkins Road Cemetery, Moka Calababa. So if you can look at this, Jesus. So I can't get that's sheep Jesus. And you guys say coming when I come. And according to the history, when I come, we would a preference to Spain. A preference to Spain. Were defeated. Because as long as I been so I can get go to Jesus me. So when Elizabeth I chartered this ship to Hawkins, who used it for slave voyages to West Africa and West Indies between 1562 and 1568. So say John Hawkins again, I get after Africa I get 1555. I get to Australia from there. Yes, I'm been mommy. I don't Nigeria, I don't Ghana, of course, he get Ghana by that time. I get a one like one kingdom. The tribe of Judah. So the kingdom of Judah. So so now Queen Elizabeth I had the shatter this ship. I don't know John Hawkins, and Hawkins was promoted. I'm a lot of money. So I did not even realize that he was promoted to admiral. So admiral. So and that makes him a man that vice admiral. Hopkins commanded this ship in a battle where it overpowered several Spanish vessels. Now, Vice Admiral Drake commanded this ship in a battle where it captured a Spanish galleon. So now, British I don't already sack. Mbonsigi to ever work go Spanish. I don't already sack a month's yoga business. So Queen Elizabeth authorized nsongi kangu de mewu. Moiro Africa itongo adide mewu. And to show you what really happens, let me bring back Hawkins a little. This is so here. Jesus was the name of the slave ship captained by Sir John Hawkins in 1564 by appointment of the Queen of England. Ako ko megana rok ndion.
Netwo nya na ngabake mo miyo.
So I make it see where
Mekut.
how them very good. Megana good ya fun. Maybe wa manumum. So the slave ship, Jesus, was the name of the slave ship. So after Amadi and Young Gate, then the market the Queen and Onion, authority. And yet, didn't go, Nneme. Now, Yaga Mama, Ben Young. So, what am I saying here? Now, me Mbonyen, am I going to win? So, Raibo Cording Wong, so Raibo Sikaing Wong, so Raibo Nkwai Kong of Hitong. So that able a phone scene. Now I work at the fruit on Bomia comedian booker. This was in room. Now let me proceed to show you where they kept slaves. When the slaves are bought, they kept them in a dungeon. So just look at this. Just look at this. It's 4. Now, this is if you're young in Akwa Ibom State. This is if you're young. You look at the pictures, concentrate. Concentrate on the pictures. That's the picture in if you're young. Now, so when you open it, now this one will open. You can now look at it inside. So all the slaves will be kept inside this. No, this is not a bunker. It is a pig that they did. They floor, and they use cement. They plaster the whole pit, and it can contain about 100 people. So This guy has to go in. Did you see that? That's how people will go in. Are you following me? Right, let's go again. So he's going in to see the inside. You see that? So this is how the inside is. This is the inside of the storage tank, slave storage tank. And you can visit this place that if you're young. If you're young, it's in Akwa Ibom State. One of the ancient, one of the most popular slave ports in Nigeria before even Badagry, because this place was the capital of Nigeria, Calabar, and then the port, the seaport by then was Ifeanyi. So this is how it all started. Let me show you again. Look at this. That's opening. This guy is going in. That is it. That's how they used to enter. And then you go down. You will remain here. So nobody knows if they have food to give them. But the truth is that after this place, where you will find yourself is a very big ship standing to load you out. If you can look at this picture here, you'll see that that is the river. So once you are out of this pit, you will enter the vessel, the ship that is that will be taking you to an unknown world. So Vice Admiral Drake and Admiral John Huggins were the commanders of this ship. So we have discussed this, Kofre, that it was Pope Nicholas V that issued the papal bull, Dum de Fasas, which authorized Alfonso V of Portugal to reduce any surrogates, Muslims and pagans and any other unbelievers to perpetual slavery, and this facilitated the Portuguese slave trade from West Africa. Kofredo. Now, another thing was when the slaves arrived in America, many things happens. So people will buy them. Me wait them, me for me buy them. So yeah, in like this one. That's an act of 1470, not that one really. So yeah, I say the advertisement first. You look at this picture here. This is Great Sale of Slaves, January 10, 1855. So look at that picture. As at yesterday, the word box. I want Edu can count me. So by the time of Okatemi, I got night to advertise that carries these guys are good for plantation. $3. Why do bitar? Ido bitar madam phony demiden. Bitar make it 9 year old strong and able bodied. Bondo waya da kitty. So age 20 to 26. One wench, Sally, that's a woman. Age 42, excellent cook. One wench, Lizzie, age 23 with 6-month-old Pixini. Magado. Rasa mirabamo. So, ayara korwa. Sa senya bi kimana ko nyo bi manifan. Asan garat family bugide banye. One boy, age 52, good. Atem magbono wo Kenel man. Okay, 17 bucks. And yare do a free badum from age 12 to 20, excellent condition. Somebody ya sangorwa. They can have a advertise it. So now you see another one here. Just arrived from Africa. The ship, Prince of Wales, Captain James Briefings, with about 400 fine, healthy slaves. The sale of which began at Bermuda 100 on Thursday, the 8th of October, and continue until all are sold. Advertised by John Wells and Richard Randolph. Okay. Adverts, so the Renyama Memgo. So condition, I can see about here. Condition amadi OTT. You get to go say Wubakaname. And a Mount Rembo. Mount Rembo say a be fair, said to me. Yamatanga Bambun, Siki seed way. Mount Rembet. Mount Rembo. Condition on Yam Cable Num Fian. Oh, Yam might be a Memia Fiawu. The condition on Yam. So that means a better Memia Fiawu. No way, but when I'm feeling getting Teflon. So, I would. I mean, Yamada say now, I can see no Quack of body wood, our ancestors. You take 10 years and go for a gig in Amami Manatorio. Eddie Conan, you gave me fin. They're not only that. They came Amaru. Manatoro, I son take it with take Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. Nitangikor Makon Keboke, the Lord will take you to Egypt. Nankeri kaman songi kang Ruben Fienemo. Also shared with our people. But it is well and yeah for Copenhagen for them. Other the kind of Israel. Yeah for Copenhagen a Bible. Now, I put a yaso Aku. Very bad for the Aku, but maybe you do. Some of Fukuman care remember. A Fukuba near even from another country. Keke Meriben. Insan Kubum. Ganges yung Yam. Iba Akpa group Sikido Ifano Kenyama. Non slaves. To West Africa. And historically, not just slaves, to Nigeria. There was no Nigeria by then as at 14 Oh. And the Lord will take you back to Egypt in ships, by the way of which I said to you, you shall never see it again. Now, a prophet come. You don't go by Satan directly. The Lord will take you back to Egypt in ships, by the way of which I said to you, you shall never see it again. And there you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves. And Yemen, Yemen change me, but no one will buy you. But they bought them. They bought them. And so, if you have any question to ask, I would like to say 1 hour, 5 minutes, 38 seconds that I have come to the end of today's edition of our series 53 review. I'll be here again next Saturday by the grace of God. Same time, 9 p.m. Nigerian time, and Eastern time, 1 p.m. So if you still have questions, we will be glad to answer you. On behalf of everybody that featured today, our brother Kukuona, network doesn't agree for him to stay with us. I acknowledge patience today, man. I acknowledge Marital Basti, my brother Nneme, every one of you that asked questions and contributed to the success of this program. So I'll be happy to see you again next Saturday. Goodbye. Have a happy new month. Have a great night. If you are in the region that is enjoying evening time until 6. My name is Joseph Brown. I appreciate you. Thank you. And good night.
Mbubreyo, the rhythm takes control. Let's celebrate as a whole. Mbubreyo, the beat drops in the air. Dance and rejoice. Let happiness be there. Mbubreyo, the rhythm takes control. Let's celebrate as a whole. Mbubreyo, the beat drops in the air. Dance and rejoice. Let happiness be there. Mbubreyo, the rhythm takes control. Let's celebrate as a whole. Celebrate as a whole. Celebrate as a whole. In the heart of Akwa Ibom.